Hey, what's going on, guys?
This is Danny.
And of course, this is Dev. And I guess
Today we're going to be talking about people who have never experienced
you
love.
just slide in there and jump like he ain't talking about nothing. Anyway, yeah. So go ahead.
How we normalize flings and not commitment while still yearning for it at the same time, and also how timing affects the outcomes of relationships as well. And are you rushing into things too fast?
Yeah, that's a whole lot. We said a whole lot right there.
Yeah.
So people who have never experienced love, how we normalize flings and non-commitment while at the same time yearning for it, and how timing affects the outcomes of relationships and rushing into things too fast. That's a lot. You literally just said that. Yeah. Whatever. I feel like jumping in. Anyway, I guess this was a topic that we were discussed with a friend of ours, and I guess it's I don't know. I've never been in that situation. I guess. Well, I can say I've never been in that situation because we've been together for over 10 years. So
what
it's kind of.
What topic are you talking about right now?
The first topic: okay. People who've never experienced love.
Okay.
So I guess it's a little bit different. I'm coming from a different perspective. So I'll just say, in my opinion, because that's just the easiest way. But
and we're talking about, make it clear, we're talking about people that never experienced love from a romantic.
Experience romantic love. Not necessarily saying just love in general, but love from a romantic standpoint. So thanks for clarifying that. So it's love from a romantic standpoint. I think that kind of ties into the second kind of semi-topic, which is how we normalize, flings and non-commitments while at the same time yearning for it, because I think that's kind of like the problem of why people don't experience love, because we live in a culture that, although we still have that as like marriage and all of that other type of stuff as like the standard bearer for like traditional relationships, or even now polyamorous relationships are becoming a little bit more mainstream, it still doesn't tackle like the sub level of things that are going on that are causing relationships not to work and why people don't experience love.
You just said a whole lot.
Well, it's the truth though, because we live in a society where we got Tinders and Plenty of Fish, and hell, even now Facebook, Instagram, all these other places where it's like love and relationships.
Love on the go.
Yeah, basically, that's what it's like. It's like, that's a good one, like love on the go. So it's kind of like you get to dip and dabble into like parts of what love can be and what it takes to have it, but you're not really experiencing it from a.
But I think it's because you have so many people. Like, we were looking at this documentary, and it's more so like you have so many people at your like
disposal. Yeah. And I think that.
So it's like, oh, well, let me see what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see, what I'm saying. And sometimes you may be missing out on certain individuals because you are,
trying to have a fucking smorgasbord of people. It's kind of like you gonna get a little bit of this and get a little bit of that.
You choose the wrong ones because it's just because eventually you do choose, but sometimes it's like, okay, but you were so everywhere that you probably miss things.
Well, obviously, and you could have had multiple opportunities within the 15 people you talked to that month. Mm-hmm. Maybe 2 of them could have been maybe ideal for you to have some kind of relationship. And I think people confuse too, like every relationship isn't going to be like the one. But that doesn't mean that there aren't things that you can experience and get from those relationships. You said what?
No, I'm saying you can have good experiences.
Right.
Everything doesn't have to be like, I guess, horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
It probably ended for a reason, but so it was. But
right, that's true. But like you said initially,
you don't have to have like horrible
experiences all the time. Everything is like, oh my god, it didn't work out because it was like so horrible, or everything about the relationship was horrible. There's times where because
most of those things you can see up front. So if it's that horrible, a lot of those things you can see. Some people are good at whatever. I
think people have gotten better at hiding this shit.
But usually you be able to see it within the first month. So if you stick around looking at that, then it's kind of like, what you would.
Well, because people want to see what they want to see, which is which is what the problem is, why people don't experience love, because they're not necessarily doing what it takes to actually build that either. They accept these things or these temporary fixes because they got like 15 people that they can talk to that kind of like almost make up one person.
But they talking to the wrong person
at the same time. You know, so it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know. It does really, to me, it kind of, I guess the new age, and don't get me wrong, like, I mean, I'm all down for, you know, swiping left and swiping right if that's what you want to do. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can meet some great people out there, but I do think that the new way that we've kind of ushered in dating affects like long-term relationships and commitment to people, because it's too much accessibility to too many people. And just as people, period, I wouldn't even say as Americans, because my first mind to say was as Americans, but this is a global issue, is that we have too much access to people instantaneously. So you form opinions and stuff instantly without even getting a chance to really know a person. So you'll jump to conclusions. So you see a person profile and you'll just be like, oh,
they
okay.
got a cool profile. Now,
Yeah.
if a person has a whack profile, whether it's on any platform, you're like, I don't know
about that. And it's kind of like, well, they gram is not going to be the determining factor if they're going to be a good match for you or not. You know, they Snapchat is not going to be indicative if they're going to treat you right or not. You know what I'm saying? Because that doesn't make sense. But that's the world we live in.
Attracted to surface first, I guess. You know, it's what reels you. It was real people in. Now,
but that's reality, though.
Yeah, and that's anything. Yeah. So I don't really think. I mean, that's true, but we do that and just face to face. You'd be like, okay. First, you're attracted to a person, and you can say all that personality. First, you're attracted to them, right, if you don't know them. Right.
Well, I mean, of course you have to be, because how else are you? I mean, it's not like you just walk down the street and you're like, man, I'm like this. I'm like 11. I can feel that person energy. They're great. They have a great person. You see a person. You see if you're attracted to them first from afar. You look at their aesthetics, and your aesthetics may be different of what you're attracted to. But I mean, you full of shit if you say you're not attracted to a person visually first, because that doesn't even make sense. You can become more attracted to that person after the fact by their personality and
or less.
That too. That's true too. That's a good point, because that happens a lot too. I mean, you can have a person who's aesthetically like fly. I mean, they just like super dope. It's like, oh man, and then you start to get to know them. You're like, oh yeah, actually you're not. You like, yeah, right. What was that face?
Oh no. Ain't nothing personal.
No, it's always personal with you.
No, it's not.
Anyway, what was it? What was the second part? How timing affect? No, we. Oh well, I mean, we already talked about the normalizing, but how timing affects outcomes of relationships and people moving into relationships too fast.
We already touched on that for us moving too fast, but.
I mean, I guess a little bit, but
I guess more in depth about like just relationships in general. Yeah. I guess you're saying like, I mean, some people say that when you're first talking to people, some people say they like to get to know people one at a time. So then they just X out other people. What do you think about that? Because here's the thing, like some people be like, I want to take my time, but they could just be playing you.
I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously. My personal opinion is it's hard for me to try to talk to just one person at a time, unless like I really have like some investments in that person. But if we're talking about this on the average dating scene, no, I don't believe in just talking to one person at a time, because when you do so, it's kind of like you limit yourself. I mean, like now if you're saying, hey, we've been talking for like 6 months. I think that's a kind of okay way to gauge.
6 months.
If you talk
6 months.
I mean,
because I think that's a little like I don't know if it takes 6 months, but to like because then my thing is this: it did not take 6 months. It's not 6 months.
Yeah, they take us 6 months, but everybody don't click the way that we click.
I get that, but if it take me 6 months to click with you, that means you're probably not a strong candidate.
I'm not saying click with you. I'm saying if it may take you 6 months to decide if you want to be exclusive with this person.
If it takes me 6 months to decide I want to be exclusive with somebody, then it's for
really?
me.
You think that's too long?
For me, I'm just saying my own personal experience. If it's taking me 6 months to see if I actually clicking with you or not clicking as you saying, but want to be with someone, more than likely I don't want to be with you like that.
Exclusively?
Yes.
I mean, I think it's just. I mean, I
think it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's for you. Maybe that's you. But for me,
I'm just saying now that if I have to date again,
I know if I want to actually, if I can see myself actually date someone long term. Number one, it depends on the conversations we having up front. So if we're having like meaningless conversations, then okay, it's kind of like okay, whatever. That may be 6 months of just nothing, or just whatever. But we having like in-depth conversations, we click and we vibing. Then I can picture myself like, okay, this person can be someone, someone to me.
So you can decide if you want to be exclusive with somebody and what, and what's the time frame you talking about then?
I mean,
exclusive, meaning you only talking to this person now.
It could be like, okay, so for me to decide, like, okay, this person, no. For me to decide,
because you start thinking, and it's shit like, oh,
no, it's not gonna take me 6 months to be like, oh, you're my, or whatever. No, it's not. Like, so yeah.
So what's the time frame? Give me a time.
For me, for us, it took what, a month or two. So I mean, it's like for me, it's like that's it. That's tops for me, because anything longer than that, for me, my attention span is like it's not there. It's not there. So it's kind of like, more than likely, it's just not gonna happen. We just cool, and it's gonna eventually phase itself out.
Okay. So you saying it take about a month or two for you to figure out if you're going to be exclusive with somebody?
Well, it's like yeah. I mean, see if we're gonna make it like exclusive. Yeah. I mean, but even before then, it's kind of like I know if I want to actually be with a person like that.
Well, I would hope so. I would hope that within the first fucking week or two that you would know if you even want to even continue to even have conversation with the person or move forward in any capacity.
I'm saying I would know. I'm saying for me, I know if what category you may be in. That's what I'm saying.
So you got categories and subcategories. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe with potential plus. Like I mean, so
I know. I mean, for me, I know right off the bat. Like it's not like right off the bat, but it's like So it's kind of like, it's not a ranking system. It's more so, it's only like two categories. It's more so like, okay, this person has that type of potential. Oh, that I can see. The other category is like, okay, you already know that's not going to really be. Because it's to me, I guess it's about knowing yourself and knowing what you like.
That's true.
But people that don't know that, then I guess it's not like cut and dry for them. So I don't can talk about my own personal experience. I really can't talk about anybody else's when it comes to this subject.
I guess that's why I was trying to tie into, because it's, for me, obviously I have my own personal perspective, but I was just trying to like kind of put myself in the shoes of people who are having the problems with establishing relationships because of the before mentioned reasons. So it's kind of like, well, maybe some of these people are moving too fast in these relationships, which is why they're not having success in them. So I wasn't necessarily talking about my personal preference per se. I too can be able to tell if I'm vibing with a person.
To me, it's more so the problem comes in people don't know how to, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure the word I'm looking for. I know the word I'm looking for, but assess the situation. I think that's the biggest problem. They don't know how to assess the situation of like who is a good person, who is not a good person.
And why do you think that is?
Because obviously you gotta look at yourself, because at some point if you keep running to bad people, then
yeah.
You know
I mean that's a hard pill to swallow, because people don't want to swallow that
so
pill.
it's kind of like, well, I guess if you never experienced that, then how would you know what it looked like? And then when you do find it, sometimes they just fuck it up. So because they not used to it.
Yeah, that's true. I think that I think people move too fast, because even though we do live in a society where we have temporary love and all these smorgasbords of,
it's like, oh, I gotta get it right now before somebody else. It's almost like it's all because we are desperate for love, right? And also because everybody is so accessible, it's kind of like, well, if I don't get it, then it's almost like a race.
Yeah, but a race that has no winners, because the only real winners, I mean, it's kind of like what's that story, the tortoise and the hare, because like when sometimes when you're moving too fast, you kind of overlook like things and obstacles that may be in your way or prevent you from accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish because you are moving too fucking fast. I mean, and people, and I think that happens for the people, and it's not saying like desperate or thirsty, like in the sense of like, you so desperate and thirsty, blah, blah, blah. It's not saying that, but it's more so saying we're like desperate as a society for love, while at the same time trying to pretend like we don't want it. And then we rush into these relationships.
Another thing is people, not to cut you off, but people are in love.
But you did, but that's okay.
I ain't gonna lose my train of thought. People are obsessed with the idea of what they see on other couples on social media. Yeah. But really you don't know the behind the scenes of like what things it take, and then because most people aren't willing to do the things it take.
Yeah, to actually have a sustainable.
It's not all glitz smiles and all that. So it's not. That's kind of like, oh, that's like the little payoff, I guess, or the reward, or whatever you want to say. You know, that's part of it. Yeah. But that's a small part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's. Don't well. First off, I mean, because most people ain't keeping it real anyway. So it's kind of like you definitely can't base your aspirations of love or your, I guess, ideals on love based upon idolizing a popular couple or somebody you're intrigued with how they represent their relationship, just for the very reasons you just mentioned. Because then that puts you in a position of wanting things that may not necessarily be for you. So it goes back to the point of knowing what you want and what you need, because if you don't know that and you're basing your shit off of somebody else's stuff, you're going to constantly run into that situation of not having successful, sustainable relationships. And that's just what it is.
Because everybody's relationship is tailored for them.
Exactly.
Well, it should be.
Well, it is. Whether it works out or not, it is tailored specifically for them.
Now, do you feel like social media affects relationships? Or when you first starting to get to know people?
What do you mean?
Like, you know, like you have the access to look at people's comments or likes and stuff like that. When you're first getting to know someone, like, do you think that affects their relationship?
Yeah. Well, that's obviously. I mean, because it gives you. I mean, see.
Because you know things, or you don't. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, I think it does.
So social media gives you access to information, whether it's true or not.
That you wouldn't have. That you wouldn't have. Even if they told you about something, it's kind of like, but you know, if they still, you know, communicate with people on social media and stuff like that, those are things that you normally wouldn't have to see.
Yeah, which ties into the whole point of.
Even if that's not what it is, but then even but
it don't matter
some people will be like, oh, fuck that shit. Okay, well, they still and it may not even be anything, and then so I'm gonna go out and.
And why is that? Because 90% of reality is perception.
Yeah.
So if you perceive it to be something, it doesn't matter if it's true or not, because in your mind it's already happened. Yeah. You know, so it's irrelevant. So yeah, to answer your question, does it affect the dating process of getting to know somebody? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, it could go both ways, not just in a negative standpoint. It can also help you. It can also give you a better understanding of a person, because some people are just real people, and it's not a facade of what they represent on their social media. I would like to consider myself one of those people.
So do you think that a person, like, if you're getting to know someone and a person still communicates like with an ex on social media,
for me, it depends on the type of relationship that we have. If I'm secure in my relationship and we've already discussed that that's not an issue, then no. If it's an ex and I know that that's something that would be not detrimental to the relationship, but it may be it may affect it in a way that is not conducive for the progression of our relationship.
You're coming from a mature standpoint. Most people are not. So a lot of people are not going to look at it like the way you're looking at it.
Well, yeah, but that's just me, so I have to keep it 100.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's you. But what I'm saying is that, like, the average
person don't want you to talk to your exes in any situation.
Right, that's true. Especially a fresh one or anything. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's where I kind of draw. I mean, to me, if it's like fresh, that causes an issue of. More so like, rebound type situations, or is it actually over? It could complicate things. So for me, and personally, I don't think that anybody should move to another relationship unless that ex is like an ex, meaning like it's done finito, period. Not just, I haven't talked to them for a few weeks and now I'm trying to get back out here in the scene. That's that's something that would be difficult for me to deal with. But if it's not that, then I ain't gonna say I don't care, but that person,
But could you deal with it?
I could. Which one? Which situation?
It's the second part. Even if it's not anything, maybe it's just perception.
If it's a new ex,
yeah. I mean, even if it's just perception, it's not anything. Because what I'm saying is that like the average person wouldn't be able to. Most people wouldn't be able to take that. So they'll go out and do something rash because of what they thinking is happening. You know what I'm saying?
I think that for me, I think, well, if it's a new relationship, because they're a new ex, which means that I'm a new relationship,
yeah.
that then for me, I think it depends upon like how often this is happening, the subject matter to which they're talking about. Because if you're talking about if it's expressed on social media, then that's a very public setting. So if it's nothing and it's like bullshit, it would be annoying.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't let it affect me or where I'm going.
So do you think that by being annoying, because some people, they get very annoyed and it's kind of like, and they may have a little attitude and they're annoyed, they still want to beat you and they may understand the situation, but do you think that affects the relationship? And I'm gonna do the same thing so I don't feel the same way.
I think it affects your relationship only if you don't communicate to that person what the issue is. So if you have an issue with that person communicating with their ex, in any form, whether it's in real life or social media, then if you don't address it, then any consequences from that is on you, because you're the person who has a problem with it. So for me, it's like if you don't address it with that person, then if you go out and do something rash, brash, irrational, or whatever, then that means that's all the consequences from that point are on you because you didn't address it with that person. Now, if you address it with that person, and it continues to happen, then that just means that shit ain't gonna work anyway, because that's just where the chips are falling, and that's just what it is. So I think the onus is on the person who has the issue to communicate that properly. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about effective communication with people and not necessarily say with that situation you have to have effective communication, because you do. Otherwise,
do you think we've lost consideration in relationships when getting to know people? Because for me, I personally...
What do you mean by that?
Like, it's not etiquette, but at the same time, it is kind of etiquette, and it's kind of like, well, you know what? Because perception is everything. Certain things just don't look good, so are you that clueless?
Oh, or are you saying that while getting to know somebody that there should be etiquette, social media etiquette, as far as like your behaviors?
Maybe.
Because
some things are like, because for some people, they like, well, wow. And I think that's how a lot of people may feel. Like, it's kind of like, it's like, are you that clueless to how things come off or look? Because perception is everything.
I think you have a point. I'm just trying to wrap my head around, like, how would I gauge that? I do think that to a degree, and it really depends upon where y'all are at in that getting to know each other stage, whether you should be having consideration and etiquette for that person. I think that if it's still at a stage of like really getting to know a person, then it shouldn't really matter. That y'all have no commitments to each other. So I'm not considering your feelings in that type of sense. Although me personally, I will be considered, because that's just the type of person that I am. I will always.
It's just less drama.
Yeah. That's just me personally. But for me, if I was giving advice to somebody else, I would say that's up to you what you want to do, but it's not necessarily something that's required.
Hey, do what you want to do, right. Back room, whatever. But right. It's more so like it's. Yeah.
But if you've been talking to this person for like, let's say, a month or two, then I think that there should be some kind of etiquette.
And by talking, you're talking about the category of like y'all could see yourselves being together.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Y'all are taking those steps too. By getting to know each other, the conversation topics, the frequency to which you talk, the frequency to which you see each other outside of social media. If y'all video chatting, it's just a lot of things that factor into like where y'all are at in that getting to know.
House,
So now if we're starting to get into those stages, then you absolutely have. That's just respect. That's not etiquette. That's just respect for your relationship.
But how can a person know that if they never really experienced that?
And
that's the thing. So
right.
that's basically
that goes back to the first part of the
circle. That's why I even included that topic. Yeah. It's more so like, well, a person like that.
Yeah, you've never experienced that love.
You don't really know how to operate
Yeah.
when it comes to relationships.
But-
so you don't know, and I'm not saying like I'm not giving them an excuse. They don't know right from wrong.
No, absolutely
They're
not.
adults, but it's the same time they don't know. like,
Right.
they-
But you also but that's why it goes into choosing partners. You have to be smart about choosing your partners, because for me, I always want a partner, Danielle, or obviously everybody knows, we are poly. So any future partners, I personally would choose to pick somebody who can help me with things, teach me things. So in that case, if a person is broken and they were talking to us, or we were talking to somebody, I would hope that they have something to be able to teach me. So if this is a person who doesn't understand or have never experienced love and don't know how to operate in it, whether you're talking about etiquette or otherwise, then you probably should choose partners who can teach you how to do those things, because otherwise you're going to continue to either operate that way, which is not an effective way to operate, or you're going to fuck up good situations consistently that may be for you. So it's the onus is on both parties to communicate those things. So as we come back full circle to people who've never experienced love, then I think the onus is on you to do
right,
some
because
self-reflection.
I'm just saying, how would they know how to operate, basically?
What they don't. I mean, but see, the thing is, it's not always about you don't know how to, because at some point you have the responsibility is on you.
Yeah.
It can't be, well, I've never experienced. It can't be that forever. It can be that the first 10 times, 15 times, But at some point, the onus does have to be on you about, okay, well, yeah, I may never have experienced that, but maybe there's something that I need to do for myself, or I need to change about myself, which the main problem is changing who the fuck you talking to. Stop picking people who are not conducive for your progression as a person or the things that you're trying to accomplish in life. If you're trying to accomplish something specific, then you need to stop talking to people or associating with people who are counterproductive to that goal. And a lot of people don't do that. And it's kind of like, well, at some point you have to take responsibility for that. You can't just keep running into bad people.
Because what happens is you become those people.
Yes.
So the people that are actually for you, you become those people.
Right.
So you the same way they are.
Right. And it doesn't. It's like a never ending cycle. So I mean, it is what it is. We are 26 minutes in. I figure out.
This is just all our observations.
Yeah.
So we just observing other people, nothing personal.
No. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think we needed that disclaimer. That disclaimer. Hey, we ain't talking about us. Like, but just to summarize, so it was basically people who have never experienced love, how we normalize flings and non-commitment while at the same time yearning for it, and how time affects the outcomes of relationships and people who move into things too fast. I guess as usual, looking for your feedback, guys. As usual.
That's one thing I wanted to add.
What?
Like, comment, and subscribe.
You so silly. Anyway, all right, guys. Peace.